Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of The Birdman, and today we'll be birding at Sylvan Lake, just like the title says. It took approximately no time to catch our first species, the Franklin's gull. More on them later though. Our first stop wasn't for birds though, but for food, so we stopped at this restaurant called Son of a Beach before we headed out. Down by the actual beach we found more birds, including what I think to be a California gull, and a ring-billed gull. Actually, many ring-billed gulls. This common bird is a frequent sight in beaches, estuaries, and bays, but also city centers and especially areas which can provide a sustainable supply of foodstuffs, such as parking lots. Their range covers most of the country, though it seems to be lacking from the west coast and a large chunk of Quebec. These birds are easily identified with their namesake black beak ring, white head, black wingtips, gray back, and medium size. Though gulls in general seem to fit that description, and it can take some getting used to the truly nailed down gull ID. Anyways, when it comes to feeding time, quite obviously these birds are no picky bunch, and will gladly devour anything they can get their little omnivorous bills around. Though mostly, they glean farmers' fields in particular for nourishment. And the call of this bird, just about as stereotypically gull as it gets. Take a listen. Further down the beach, it wasn't long before we found our next species, and one we had already seen earlier, the Franklin's gull. We even found this rather big flock of them, so why not talk about them? This gull species is definitely on the smaller side, but is still quite common and distinctive. In the summer, birds possess a bold black head, flame red bill, partial white eye ring, spotted wingtips, a gray back, and white underparts. During the non-breeding season though, birds lose most of their hood, being reduced to a little spot, and their beaks darken in color. Here at Sylvan, all the gulls had already molted in Tern. Another identifying feature of this bird though, is actually its squeaky call, which can be heard from great distances as flocks of these seabirds get excited over food. Take a listen. Aside from this, these birds are primarily found in freshwater marshes with emergent vegetation, perfect for their nesting habits. Speaking of, these birds will form colonies within said wetlands and build platform nests out of surrounding vegetation. Nesting periods last from April to July, and in that time the female will lay 2 to 4 buff, olive, or brown eggs to be incubated for 23 to 26 days. Chicks will leave the nest at about 32 to 35 days of age, though they will have gained the ability to swim by a mere 3 weeks. During this period though, young are still fed by the parents, meals which most ordinarily consist of insects, earthworms, mice, seeds, fish, or small freshwater crustaceans. Now, if you were extra attentive, you would have noticed there was an additional species in that last clip I played. That's right, the last species at Sylvan Lake that we saw was the FORSTER'S tern. We actually initially saw them hunting over the water, but I wanted to save the best for last, because why not? Also, if you watch this footage closely, there's actually a bird we didn't even notice on the trip, a redneck grebe hiding in the waves, which is really cool. I'm glad we got him. Anyways, the FORSTER'S tern is one of my favorites to watch, simply for its aerodynamic and fluid design. They're just so cool. They're not alone in their field though, and the common tern poses a great identification hazard at times. Luckily, there are several telltale signs that distinguish them. The biggest would be the wingtips, as common terns have distinct black edges to the tips of their wings, which is omitted in the plumage of the FORSTER'S. On top of this, the FORSTER'S possesses shorter legs, a longer tail in comparison to its folded wings, a heavier bill, and during the breeding season, a white breast as opposed to a gray one, as well as an orange beak as opposed to a red one. If you'd like to locate the FORSTER'S tern though, it would be recommended to search open waters, rocky islands, barrier beaches, and salt marshes across its range, which extends at the most northerly point into Alberta, while it winters way down south in places like Mexico or the Caribbean. Within said habitat though, this bird will chow down on a variety of small fish, usually ranging from 1 to 4 inches, which they catch in a grand aerial display, diving with incredible speeds from up to 50 feet in the air. FORSTER'S, however, are one of the few terns to make an exception to this feeding behavior, as they've been known to perch and watch from above, then fly and dive, not too unlike a kingfisher. Also, why don't we take a look at the FORSTER'S tern nesting? Like gulls, these birds will nest in colonies, so on the ground, usually amongst marsh vegetation, weeds, and dead and floating plants. The nest itself is a scrape in the ground which can range from no lining to a cup of marsh plants and weeds. Within, the female delivers a clutch of 1 to 4 olive to buff eggs, with numerous markings of a dark brown coloration, which she will incubate for approximately 23 to 28 days. After hatching, the nestling period will last an additional 2 to 7 days, even though they are born downy with open eyes. But, I mean, who wouldn't make the most of a free ride? Anyways, to end off this segment, and actually the entire video, what does this bird sound like? Well, it can range from simple caws to a whole range of robotic nasal sounds, like these. And that's all I have to say about this bird, and this video. In all, Sylvan Lake was a really cool experience, with great food, great views, and some nice insight into the marine birds of a landlocked province. And someday, we'll definitely be visiting again, just as you should. Thanks so much for watching this episode of The Birdman. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to both like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.